this rose? We asked this type of entrepreneurs around the world while visiting Uzbekistan, taken in the rose garden of a Chinese company. Tell the truth, I was a little surprised to see it, because I've been here for 2 or 3 days. The local maximum temperature is 47 degrees Celsius. I can't stand standing under the sun for a while. Such a delicate rose. Can you live in a place like this? It's not easy. Then why do we have to go all the way? Here comes this rose. Can this business be successful? Do business here. What else should we pay attention to? Some gains. Share with you. Before starting, let's open the map first. Learn about the geographical location of Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan is a doubly landlocked country. Don't rely on the sea. None of the neighboring countries are close to the sea. Goods want to be exported. Pass through at least one landlocked country first. Land transportation era. Uzbekistan is the center of the Silk Road. The center is flow. At that time, all goods from the east and the west pass through here. But in the age of shipping, the rules have changed. The port is the flow. About 80% of global trade in goods is transported by sea. The further away from the port, the higher the shipping cost. So, the logic of business must also change. Past. Uzbekistan is like a transit point. All goods pass through here. Today, it looks more like a terminal. Freight arrives here, mainly sold locally. The advantage is, freight from outside is expensive these days. Producing locally has advantages. The disadvantage is, local freight is also expensive. It's hard to sell further afield. So what impact does this have? 1. Same distance. Protect roses. Trap tiles. Let's talk about roses first. Yunnan roses. The wholesale price is probably only 2 or 3 cents a flower. Here, wholesale can cost 3 or 4 yuan. Retail for 5 or 6 yuan. One flower can be sold for about 20 yuan on Valentine's Day. So much difference. Why not just transport Yunnan roses and sell them? Because it's too expensive. Cold chain losses are not included first. Import tariffs alone. One flower costs 50 cents. Transportation disadvantages. In this way, it in turn becomes the protection of local cultivation. So there is a Chinese company. I simply planted roses locally. The person in charge, Mr. Song, said they built 10 greenhouses. The planting area is about 100 acres because low-priced goods from outside cannot be bought in. As long as you can grow it yourself, you can sell it on the shelves. Of course, it's not easy. Environment here. The out-of-focus rose sucks. Summer maximum 50 degrees Celsius. You have to rely on running water and a fan to cool down. In winter, it's minus 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. Need to install hot water pipes and air heating. When it's the coldest, the heating bill is more than 20,000 a day. Who knew it wouldn't work? An additional 400,000 yuan were installed with water purification equipment. It's been a toss-up all the way. The account is clear. Song Dong said, maintain 4 or 5 stable customers. The project can be transferred. The payback period is 2 years. False error. It's the profit space left by the map for you. But can you earn this money? You have to calculate the cost. However, same distance. I wouldn't be so lucky if I changed my business, such as ceramic tiles. Tiles are heavy and brittle. Long-distance shipping costs are terrifyingly high. Logically, it should be produced locally. Eat this red honey. But here comes the problem. Roses can be grown on a small scale. Ceramic tiles must be made on a large scale. Why? Ceramic tile factory needs to build factory building and buy equipment. Heavy capital investment is required in the early stage. We need to increase production. Only when the cost of each brick is spread can the merchant's cost be reduced. In the Pengsheng Industrial Park we visited, there is a ceramics factory that was put into operation in 2010. 3 lines, able to produce more than 10 million square meters of tiles every year. So many bricks to digest. Depends on a large number of dealer projects. Continuous purchases of home decoration. So it's a bit difficult to rely solely on local. The result is smaller output. Cost cannot be reduced. Increase output. Can't finish eating locally. Okay, that being the case, then sell it to a neighboring country. Okay or not. It looks great on the map. Pengsheng is the closest port to Kazakhstan. Only 10 minutes drive. From Tajikistan, only 560 kilometers. Many companies going overseas have this algorithm. Enter a country, add up the populations of the surrounding countries. That's my market. But there are only distances on the map. Didn't tell you the cost behind borders. A truckload of ceramic tiles is shipped from Uzbekistan to Kazakhstan. The distance is really not far, but once it crosses the border, it becomes an imported product. Prove the origin of materials for exposure, size, water absorption, and where resistance need to be recertified. Even if the goods have passed, the business is only half gone. Who helps you shop for goods? Are dealers willing to deposit the bones? How to settle payment? All our problems. Geographical neighbors are just money in the market. Business is really booming. That's your market. You see the high transportation costs like a wall. The roses outside can't come in. The tiles inside can't get out. So, growing roses locally becomes an opportunity, but opening a brick factory locally, but faced difficulties. 2. Tax benefits do not equal orders. Uzbekistan. He has a very attractive trade identity. EU-inclusive house awarding countries. Simply put, as long as the product meets the requirements sell into EU, you can think of tariff benefits covering more than 6,200 categories of products. It sounds very fragrant. In this half, artificial energy is cheap. Think about another tariff concession. Isn't it possible to enter Europe at low cost? But it's not actually that beautiful. Public information display. Uzbekistan 2023. What really depends on this mechanism is exporting to the EU. Only 384 categories. Why? Because of preferential tariffs. I am only responsible for reducing the amount of money paid when the product enters Europe. As for whether Europeans will buy it or not is another thing. Want to turn tariff concessions into orders. It also depends on the product and delivery capabilities. 2023. Half of Uzbekistan's exports. People are concentrated in the four markets of Russia, China, Kazakhstan, and Turkey. About 1/3 of exports, or raw materials. So what it really lacks is the processing of raw materials into product, the ability to resell to Europe. This also means for local government urgent matter. It is to attract companies with such capabilities. How to attract? One way is tax incentives. In free economic zone, land tax, property taxes can be reduced. How long you will be free depends on how much you invest. Invest $300,000 to $3 million and get a 3-year exemption. 3 million to 5 million exempt for 5 years. 5 million to 10 million exempted for 7 years. More than 10 million free for up to 10 years. After all, going to build a factory abroad. The most difficult thing was the first few years after landing. Factory building to be built, equipment to buy, workers need to be recruited and trained. High upfront cost. Many companies dare not come here once they have settled their accounts tax-free. It is the early pressure of the past few years that has been alleviated. This move by the local government is quite smart. The government collects less taxes for a few years, helping companies survive the most difficult beginning. Enterprises invest funds, equipment, bringing in technology and jobs. Statement from the person in charge of the scene. Come here to build a factory. It must be ensured that more than 90% of employees are locals. Of course, attract businesses in. Just the first step. The company is coming. Can work start smoothly? Also depends on water and electricity. Logistics, customs, employee living facilities. The government still needs to think of ways to solve these common problems in advance. This is the value of the industrial park. 3. Industrial park. Solve corporate problems in one place. What problems does the industrial park solve? A word. What every company must do repeatedly. Prepare it for you in advance. Save yourself the trouble of reinventing the wheel. Go to a strange country to build a factory. It's not just about finding an open space to put down equipment and start work. You need to find ground connections for water, electricity, and roads. Fix a bunch of rules for customs, warehousing, and logistics. It was finally possible to produce it. There is also the problem of people. Where do workers live? Where to eat for lunch? If the equipment breaks down, who should I call to fix it? Which link is missing? The factories are not running smoothly. Take Pengsheng Industrial Co. Limited. In order to facilitate the entry and exit of raw materials and products, the park has specially built a railway branch line. Trains come directly in for loading and unloading. There is also a customs control cabin next to it. Customs declaration T customs clearance. Just connect in the park. Considering that the local power supply may be unstable, the park has its own 110 kV power supply, also pulled natural gas lines. In addition, since the park is about 70 kilometers away from the capital Tepashika, it's too hard for workers to travel back and forth. Also built a dormitory, built a canteen. There are now 16 companies operating in Pengsheng. They don't do their own thing, but around leather. Started upstream and downstream business. Tannery processes cowhide into leather. These factories use it to make shoes. The remaining scraps are then sent to the Mingjia factory. Factories come together. Just the park. The upstream and downstream are connected to form an industrial cluster. During the visit, the person in charge of the park talked about a change. Impressed me deeply. When I first made leather, local cowhide is very cheap. Later, more and more leather factories. Everyone comes to grab the cowhide. The price has gone up. Profits will be thinner. Agriculture too. Uzbekistan has no shortage of land. What is lacking is land that can be irrigated stably. Chinese companies are coming in batches. Land rent is getting higher and higher. The original cost advantage is gone. This is cost digging. More people saw it. Will be filled in soon. Is the chance gone? Neither. The person in charge of the park said, doing agriculture now, instead of ending up on your own, it's better to see what the farmers still lack. The more land is planted, greater demand for chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Put things away. Cold chain and logistics are also needed. Earliest opportunity, hidden in the price difference. Opportunity later, hidden in the package. Finally, make a summary. We keep saying, GLOCO, thinking about globalization, action localization. No matter how far the enterprise goes, in the end, They all end up on a piece of land, a group of customers, and on each specific issue placed in Uzbekistan. Don't just look at the superficial benefits. It is even more important to settle every account after landing. Local advantages. It doesn't mean it's all your chance. There is a population around. It doesn't mean that everything is your market. European tariff preferences. It doesn't mean that the order will come to your door by itself. Can the business be successful? It's not just about how attractive the conditions are. It depends more on whether you can put these conditions into consideration. Elite products, orders and profits. So settle the accounts. Take root firmly. Go far. Bless every Chinese company that is going overseas. Follow Liu Run. Lower the cognitive threshold for business.